It is over. The facade of the untouchable strongman has cracked. Donald Trump is scared to death because for the first time in a long time, someone is not just fighting back but mocking him into submission. Gavin Newsom has launched a total offensive that wants Trump removed not just from office, but from the pedestal of power he has built on fear. In the next few minutes, we are going to expose exactly how Newsom is dismantling the MAGA myth using their own tactics and why Trump's inner circle is in a state of absolute panic. The facade of the strongman is always brittle. It relies not on genuine strength, but on the projection of invincibility. It is a carefully curated illusion of power that demands total submission and fears above all else ridicule. When the dictator is laughed at, when the emperor is shown to have no clothes, the spell is broken. We are witnessing such a moment now in the American political theater. Donald Trump, the self-anointed titan of the MAGA movement, is finding himself in a position he never anticipated. He is on the defensive, he is rattled, he is visibly frightened. For years, Trump has wielded humiliation as his primary weapon. He has bullied opponents. He has mocked the vulnerable. He has used the digital sphere to bludgeon his enemies into silence. But now the blade has been turned against him. California Governor Gavin Newsom has done something the Democratic establishment has largely been too polite or perhaps too cowardly to do. He has stopped bringing a briefing book to a knife fight. He has gone on the offensive not with policy papers but with the visceral and sharp-edged language of political warfare. Welcome to this report. I am Hedges. Today we must examine a significant shift in the dynamic of American power politics. Donald Trump is scared to death because Gavin Newsom wants him removed, and Newsom is using Trump's own tactics to dismantle him. We are seeing a strategic pivoting. Newsom is calling Trump what he is. He calls him sickly. He calls him weak. He calls him deranged. He calls him a felon and a sexual abuser. He is posting AI-generated images of Trump in handcuffs, declaring it is cuffing season. This is not the high-minded rhetoric of traditional liberalism. It is a direct strike at the ego of a narcissist. The reaction from Trump's camp reveals just how deep the wound has gone. The outrage from his sycophants like Peter Navarro and Stephen Miller is palpable. They are freaking out because they are not used to punching up. They are only used to punching down. They are crying foul because the rules of engagement have changed. Newsom is holding up a mirror to the MAGA movement. When Trump claims unmatched stamina, Newsom posts a meme mocking his need for naps during meetings. When Trump's lackeys claim persecution, Newsom responds with a snowflake emoji. It is a calculated dismantling of the myth of Trump's vitality, and it is driving them mad. But why does this matter beyond the spectacle? Because it exposes the fragility of the authoritarian movement. These figures like Trump and Musk and Miller are terrified of being seen as weak. They thrive on the projection of dominance. Newsom's attack is effective because it strips away that dominance and reveals the pathetic grift underneath. He is showing them that their strength is nothing more than a performance, and a bad one at that. We are watching the bully get a taste of his own medicine. This is not just about memes. It is about a struggle for the narrative of what America is and who gets to define its future. Trump knows that if he loses the image of strength, he loses everything. And right now, he is losing it. Governor Newsom is effectively telling the world that the emperor is naked. He is using the tools of the digital age to bypass the traditional media filters and speak directly to the ID of the electorate. He is showing that Trump is not a monster under the bed to be feared, but a sad old man to be pitied and mocked. When Peter Navarro posted the AI image that Governor Newsom had displayed of Trump in cuffs, Navarro tried to play the victim. He said he went to prison defending the Constitution. Newsom simply responded with a snowflake emoji. That single interaction encapsulates the shift. The MAGA movement wants to be seen as martyrs. Newsom sees them as weirdos. He sees them as pathetic grifters. He refuses to grant them the dignity of a serious debate because their arguments are not serious. This is a lesson that the rest of the Democratic Party has failed to learn. You cannot reason with a movement that rejects reason. You cannot shame a movement that has no shame. But you can mock them. You can belittle them. You can show the world how small they truly are. That is what Gavin Newsom is doing, and that is why Donald Trump is terrified. I want to ask you a question before we move to the next part. Do you think this aggressive strategy by Gavin Newsom is the only way to defeat MAGA, or do you think it stoops to their level? I want to read your thoughts in the comments below. To understand the fear gripping Donald Trump, we must look at the indictment Gavin Newsom has laid at his feet. It is not merely a critique of policy, it is a condemnation of character. Newsom, in his interviews and public statements, has identified Trump not just as a political opponent, but as a destructive force. He calls him perhaps the most destructive human being in the modern history of the presidency. Newsom told the New York Times and Ezra Klein that he thinks Trump is one of the most destructive presidents and human beings in his lifetime. This is a profound statement. It moves beyond the realm of partisan bickering into a moral judgment. He points to the degradation of our civic discourse. He points to the normalization of cruelty. We have a former president who is a man seeking to return to the highest office who calls people the R word. He refers to women as piggies. He calls his fellow citizens vermin. Newsom asks the question that should haunt every parent in this country. Is this our role model? We are polarized. We are traumatized. We are exhausted. The psychological toll of the Trump era is measurable in the anxiety of our children. Their brains are already scrambled by the algorithms of social media. Now they look up to a leader whose primary currency is abuse. Newsom refuses to normalize this. He refuses to indulge the polite fiction that this is just politics as usual. He calls out the complicity. He calls out the crony capitalism. He calls out the supplicants in the universities. He calls out the law firms. He calls out the corporate boardrooms who have bent the knee to this aspiring tyrant. Newsom sees the republic at real risk. He sees a country becoming unrecognizable. He says he has no patience for people that want to indulge it. This is the language of resistance. It is the recognition that we are not dealing with a difference of opinion, but a collision of values. The MAGA movement's response to this moral clarity is telling. When the Indiana governor attempted to gerrymander maps to secure power, it failed thanks in part to Republican state senators voting against it. Newsom mocked the MAGA reaction. He told a disappointed Trump loyalist that his knee pads are in the mail. It is crude, yes, but it is also a rejection of the feigned piety of the right. He is exposing the subservience that defines the MAGA cult. They are not patriots. They are servants to a master who despises them. Newsom is effectively saying that if you are going to play dirty, we will fight back. If you are going to manipulate the maps and the laws to hold on to power, we will not just complain. We will win because we are smarter than you. He mocks their dummy mandering. He belittles their competence. This strikes at the heart of the authoritarian appeal, which is the claim that only they can fix it and only they can run the machine. Newsom is showing that they are incompetent hacks. The media, of course, clutches its pearls. They ask if this is civil. They ask if this is fair. A CNN commentator clutches their chest over Newsom posting an AI video of Trump in handcuffs, asking how he could do this and saying it is so mean. This feigned shock is part of the problem. It assumes a symmetry that does not exist. It assumes that we must treat the arsonist with the same respect as the firefighter. Newsom rejects this. He understands that you do not fight fascism with manners. You fight it with mockery. You fight it with truth. You fight it with a relentless exposure of its absurdity. He is shining a light on the behavior that has been normalized. By doing so, he is making it strange again. He is making it unacceptable. And that is why Trump is scared, because he knows that his power depends on us accepting the unacceptable. Governor Newsom is acting as a disruptor in a system that craves stability. He is willing to break the unspoken rules of political decorum because he realizes those rules are being used to suffocate democracy. When he calls Trump the most destructive human being in his lifetime, he is not engaging in hyperbole. He is engaging in diagnosis. He is identifying a pathology in the American body politic that must be excised. He talks about the trauma we have all endured, the exhaustion of waking up every day to new insults and new crimes. He talks about the children who are watching this spectacle and learning that bullying is a path to power. Newsom is drawing a line in the sand. He is saying that we cannot go back to that. We cannot survive 3 more years of that. This is a fight for the soul of the country. It is a fight between those who believe in the rule of law and human dignity and those who believe in power and cruelty. Newsom has chosen his side, and he is fighting with a ferocity that has caught the Republicans off guard. They expected a lecture. Instead, they got a punch in the mouth. I want to hear from you on this specific point. Do you agree with Newsom that Trump is the most destructive human being in modern presidential history, or do you think that goes too far? Tell me what you think in the comments. The conflict between Trump and Newsom is more than a personal feud. It is a clash of two fundamentally different conceptions of the United States. On one side, you have the dark and nativist and exclusionary vision of MAGA championed by Trump and his ideologues like Stephen Miller. On the other, you have the pluralistic and diverse and modern vision represented, however, imperfectly by California. When Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, tweeted that California is a hellhole thanks to Gavin Newsom, his response was immediate and devastating. He said, "Our country is currently in hell because of your creepy husband." He did not debate tax rates. He attacked the architect of the family separation policy. He attacked the man who has injected the poison of white nationalism into the bloodstream of the federal government. This defense of pluralism extends to the most vulnerable. Newsom stated clearly that he wants to see trans kids. He affirmed his allyship with the trans community. This is a group that has become the primary target of the culture war waged by the right. When Republicans mocked this, when Elon Musk joined the chorus of ridicule, Newsom did not back down. Elon Musk is a man who has publicly disowned his own trans daughter. Newsom hit back at the richest man in the world, saying, "We are sorry your daughter hates you, Elon." This is a rejection of the bullying that defines the billionaire class. Musk and Trump believe their wealth and power insulate them from consequence. Newsom reminds them that they are still fathers. They are still human beings. Their cruelty has personal costs. Newsom defends the diversity of California not as a weakness, but as its superpower. He cites the fact that 27% of California is foreign-born. He invokes the history of the Chinese Exclusion Act. He talks about the demagogues like Dennis Kearney who scapegoated immigrants in the 1880s. He draws a direct line to Donald Trump. He notes that Kearney was the original Donald Trump. The tactics are the same. Attack institutions, attack the media, scapegoat the other. But Newsom counters this with data, not just sentiment. He points to the dominance of California in research and development. He points to its manufacturing base. He points to its venture capital and its unicorn companies. He says California's success is not an accident. It is by design. While Trump and DeSantis rage against woke corporations, California is minting them. Newsom argues that the progressive policies are the engine of this prosperity. The tax credits for R&D and the investment in the university system are what drive innovation. He dismantles the lie that the red states are the future of the economy. He points out that California dominates in advanced manufacturing, leaving places like Florida in the dust. He defends the raises for fast food workers. He defends the rebuilding of infrastructure. He is reclaiming the economic narrative from the right. He argues that true prosperity comes from inclusion and investment. It does not come from tax cuts for the rich and deregulation for the polluters. This is why Trump attacks California with such vitriol. It is the living refutation of his worldview. If a diverse and progressive and high-tax and high-regulation state can be the fourth largest economy in the world, then Trumpism is a lie. Newsom is happy to make that case. He mocks Trump's delusions of grandeur. He mocks his obsession with his aura and his health. When Trump claims criticizing his health is treasonous, Newsom lists his own grueling schedule and results. He concludes that Trump is a loser president who always falls asleep at work. It is a total war on the narrative level. Newsom is refusing to let the right define reality. He is asserting that the California model, with all its flaws, is still a beacon of what America can be. It is a place where diversity is strength. It is a place where innovation thrives. It is a place where human rights are protected. The Republicans want you to believe that California is a failed state, because they are terrified that it is actually a successful alternative to their dystopian vision. They want you to focus on the homeless crisis, which is real, while ignoring the massive economic engine that powers the nation. Newsom is forcing them to look at the numbers. He is forcing them to look at the facts, and the facts do not support the mega narrative. This raises a disturbing question that we need to confront. Do you believe the demonization of California by the right is based on reality, or is it a calculated political strategy to discredit a diverse society? Leave your answer below. The theatrics of this political battle should not distract us from the very real consequences of incompetent governance. While Trump posts memes about his aura and Minecraft, the actual machinery of the state is being dismantled. The infrastructure that keeps us safe is falling apart. Newsom identifies this failure where it matters most. He identifies it in the ability of the government to respond to reality. He points to the recent failure of a federally managed seismic sensor system. This system sent a false earthquake alert to millions. This is not just a glitch. It is a symptom of the hollowing out of the administrative state. Trump's attacks on the NOAA and his cuts to the national tsunami warning system are not abstract political moves. They are undermining the science communities we rely on as climate change accelerates. When the storms come, when the fires burn, when the earth shakes, we need a government that believes in science and competence. Trump offers neither. He offers conspiracy theories and personal grievances. Newsom warns that disasters do not stop at state lines. We need a federal partner, not a federal failure. This is the terrifying reality of a second Trump term. It is a federal government that is fundamentally broken, led by a man who views expertise as an enemy. Newsom's trolling of Trump serves a darker point. His comment about Trump being in poor physical health in response to Trump's claims of treasonous criticism is funny, yes, but it highlights a dangerous absurdity. We are being asked to entrust the nuclear codes and the future of the planet to a man who is visibly decomposing. He is decomposing both morally and physically. He demands we pretend otherwise under penalty of treason. The MAGA movement is a death cult. It would rather lose the entire country than do something that the press may deem unfair. Laura Ingraham inadvertently admitted this. They would rather burn it all down than admit they were wrong. Newsom sees this. He sees that Trump's influence is slipping. He sees that Fox News doesn't know what to do with a leader who is becoming a caricature of himself. Gavin Newsom is not a savior. He is a politician embedded in the same corporate structure that has failed us in many ways. But in this specific moment, he is performing a vital service. He is refusing to be afraid. He is refusing to be polite to those who would destroy the republic. He is looking at the Emperor of Mar-a-Lago and laughing. And that laughter is the sound of Trump's power breaking. Trump is scared because he knows that once the fear is gone, he has nothing left. He is just an old man shouting at the waves while the tide comes in to wash him away. He sees a future where the Republican Party has no agenda other than the worship of one man, a man who falls asleep in meetings, a man who is obsessed with his own reflection. Newsom is betting that the American people are tired of this show. He is betting that they are ready for a leader who can actually do the job. He talks about the future ex-governor role. He talks about looking his kids in the eye. This is the ultimate metric for him. It is not about poll numbers. It is about history. It is about being on the right side of the fight when it mattered most. He knows that history will not be kind to those who stayed silent. It will not be kind to those who collaborated. Newsom is showing us a blueprint for how to deal with authoritarians. You do not compromise with them. You do not normalize them. You expose them. You ridicule them. You defeat them. He is showing that the emperor has no clothes, and he is inviting us all to join in the laughter. Because laughter is the one thing that tyranny cannot survive. This is Chris Hedges for Chris H Media. We will continue to watch the collapse. We will continue to call out the lies, and we will not be silenced. Thank you for watching. Now I leave you with one final question. Do you think Gavin Newsom's strategy exposes Trump's weakness effectively, or does it risk polarizing the country even further? I want to read your predictions in the comments.